What's up, everyone? Welcome to the KDK podcast. This is Kong.
Yo, what's up? It's Dala.
This is Ku.
Today we'll be talking about the new Asian American film starring Steven Yeun from The Walking Dead as Glenn. This movie is called Minari, and it's about a Korean American family moving down to Arkansas to chase their American dream. Starting off about that movie, what are your first general thoughts about that movie?
My general thoughts, I thought it was a fantastic movie.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. I thought it was shot very well. The storytelling is very well told. I didn't expect it to have funny scenes on there. I thought it was just going to be a straight up super serious movie, but they had a lot of comedic scenes in there, which kind of lightened up the mood a bit for my expectation, which was good. And yeah, I just thought it was really good.
Me, I thought it was okay.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I thought it was okay. It did show, I feel like I guess the struggle wasn't major enough for me, but I did like that at least there's a part in there that made me feel like emotional for them. So I was like, okay, it made me still feel a type of way, but I still thought it was just okay, in general, yeah.
I thought it was also really good. I liked the movie a lot. I wouldn't say it's a movie that's best of the best, perfect film, right? But it's still a really good movie based on its message and what it's trying to portray. And if you guys don't know, obviously, spoiler alerts. We're going to go deep into some things here.
Most definitely.
So
yeah. I'll just go on the reason why I thought it was really good.
Go ahead,
Because, it was pretty slow. The build-up was really slow, which I think was good. I don't think it was that type of movie to kind of show a lot of action. It was pretty much like a slowly built up movie, and I just thought cinematically it was really well shot. The way they shot it was really well put together. So I just kind of thought that's why it was really well shot. That's why I thought it was put well together. And just the story, to me the story isn't an Asian American film, it's an American film, which I feel like a lot of people who's not Asian American could relate to too. Just trying to live that American dream and going through the struggles that they've gone through. So I thought that's what put the film as really good to me.
Kong, since you're on the same page with Ku.
Yeah, I thought it was the actual telling of the Asian American story in a genuine way, like finally, right? Comparing it to Gran Torino, where there's some things in there you kind of raise your eyebrows on. This one you can tell it's genuine. Like, okay, there's no corniness or crunchiness in it. It's really genuine to its message and the story is trying to portray. It's a really subtle film. It's not like it's like the struggle for the American dream, but it's not like the pursuit of happiness, where where it's so dramatic, so emotional. It's more like it's more subtle, even though it is emotional and stuff. But it's a movie that kind of knows what it is. It's not trying to be the best ever drama. It has a story to tell, which is the Asian family chasing the American dream, and it stuck to what it's trying to portray. I guess you can say, it's written really well, it's shot really well. The thing was like with subtle and movies that are on the slower side, when it's shot slowly, or like it has like a still shot, it's like an artistic shot now, like it's really artistic. But other than that, I think it's a film that knows what it's trying to portray and is stuck with that. It's not trying to impress Hollywood or anything like that.
Mhm.
That's why I liked it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Before I get to mine, just what are some cinematic shots from the film you guys felt like that would be like, oh, this is a really really good shot, or I like this shot, and like like if it was a still, like this is an amazing still shot. Yeah.
For me, I'm not really big into like stuff like that either. But like, it's just when it's being a solo film and it has like a certain shot that it kind of takes its time on. You can tell like there's like some thoughts on or some reasons behind why it's shot like this, right?
Mhm.
Even though like I didn't really think about or dive into more into that, but I just kind of know it's okay. It's shot really well. Yeah.
Mhm. Cool.
Yeah, I think like them showing some high shots going down on them and the low shots going up on them, showing pretty much like vulnerability and just higher superiority, and the shots when his house burned down, well not the house, the little shed burned down, and
Mhm.
it's pretty much just conveys that they're pretty much the way it was shot, the future, that was like their future or his dream, and his dream is pretty much destroyed, and his dream is never gonna work out because of this, and just him, just the way they shot, like the in the was it the trailer? Was that considered a trailer?
A mobile home.
A mobile home?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just the way they shot inside the mobile home too. I thought it was really well put together. It's not like super Hollywood and not actiony, which I like. I kind of like those well put still and slow shots that doesn't have so much dramatic action and stuff into it.
Mhm.
Which is to me, I even though it's slow, I kind of took it in pretty well. At the beginning, I was kind of expecting some it to go pretty quick because
Mhm.
usually movies there's a lot of action. Hollywood movies things go by quickly, but this one it was just kind of slow build up where everything progressed really slow. The way they shot it was slow. It doesn't feel like it's super actiony where things happen so much at the same time, which I feel kind of was the style that I liked, especially when it came to that film.
Okay.
And I guess I should have mentioned this in the beginning too, for like viewers who don't know at all anything about this movie. Again, it's about a Korean American family moving down to Arkansas to chase their American dream. Their American dream is the dad, who's played again by Steven Yeun. He wants to be a successful farmer, so that's his American dream. He wants to create Korean produce and ship it all over the nation, right? But yeah, go ahead.
Mhm. Yeah, I guess I mean Kong nailed a lot of the good points where this movie's not trying to be something it's not. It's staying true to just what real dreams are when you're trying to chase it. It's not too dramatic, right? And I guess for me that's kind of where I was like, where's like the super dramatic part of it, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of like, dang, it wasn't enough to make me feel like then that fight was hard or like
Yeah.
they really really struggled. But then of course I did feel for the moments when like when the wife and the husband is arguing about like she's struggling like, hey, we've been losing a lot of money for this, we keep having to take out loans, and then obviously they have their son who's struggling with his condition. And then of course at the end when you see their little shed that has all their fruits and veggies in there getting burned, like I was like, damn, okay, that was pretty emotional seeing all that. But I guess I just wanted something more dramatic.
Yeah,
And
a
the
lot
truth
dramatic.
is the movie's not trying to be like that, like the
Yeah.
movie's just trying to stay true and just be where it's supposed to be and not be super dramatic. So
Yeah.
yeah, you guys make good points
And
on that.
I think one part that I liked him that I was expecting, like, oh, this is gonna happen. I was expecting it to be like bunch of racist people
Yeah,
picking on
yeah.
them, doing shit to them,
Right.
not letting them do stuff,
Right,
and then that's where like the drama's gonna come from. They're
Mhm.
gonna be like antagonist who's gonna be the bad person, and like they're gonna have to like have conflict with him. But really, the protagonist and antagonist is them.
Mhm.
They're the good people, and also they're the bad people because
Mhm.
they're trying to keep the family together. But then
Mhm.
at the same time, the main character is trying to live his dream, but at the same time, he doesn't want to just work a regular job, or what you would call it those. It's not
9 to
assembly,
5, basically.
yeah. and not even that, just like an assembly-ish job because you do
Yeah.
this. They do the same thing over and over
Yeah.
every day,
A
and
safe job, I guess.
yeah,
A non-fulfilling but safe job.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So he doesn't want to do that, and then he goes out to live his dream, and he is his own kind of protagonist and antagonist because he's the good guy, plus he's also the bad guy, which is I feel like I'm so used to just seeing films of this is the good guy, this is the bad guy. They're gonna like fight,
Mm-hmm.
but in this scene, there's really not the bad guy, but in the sense that you do say there's a bad guy who's not letting them accomplish their goal in the movie. It's them as well, which I
Mhm.
felt was really well put together. I kind of compared to Pursuit of Happiness,
Mm-hmm.
the American Dream, and them struggling, trying to achieve better, and them kind of being their own antagonist too.
Yeah.
Right, right.
I want to add on when Ku mentioned like who's the antagonist, and then there's a part where they go to church and they encounter like, cause they're really lonely. They're the only like Korean family there, and so they go to church. It's a white church, and now you're thinking they're gonna face racism, but the movie kind of shows a different side where instead of racism, it's just really ignorance, right?
Right.
Like the
Right.
little girls, like
Stop
me
me if
when
I
I
say
say
a word."
a word in
Like
your
what?
language.
Yeah.
Now, at first you're kind of like, that's kind of messed up, but then you kind of notice, it's a girl. She's just ignorant, she's curious, she's innocent,
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
not racist.
Yeah.
Her intentions are not bad. She's just really curious,
Yeah. Yeah. True. Very
yeah.
true.
But I also want to add about the slowness of the movie. I enjoyed it because I feel like it's coming from a Asian perspective, so I can relate to it on the small little things. For example, the son has a heart condition, and he wants to drink Mountain Dew, but he can't because
Yeah.
it's bad for him. So he's forced to drink herbal medicine
Yeah.
drink.
Yeah.
And I grew up like that, having really bad asthma, so I could relate to it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
man, my brother and them, they can
Yeah, I
eat and
remember.
drink this, but I have to drink this medicine every day. Like, just the little
Right.
small subtle things like that. And like the grandma watching wrestling all into it. Oh man, our grandma was like that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, even though it's really slow and subtle, but it's like something I really enjoy because these little small things I can relate to finally
Yeah.
on the big screen. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So adding on to that, what are some of your experiences that you say you've had that are really similar to that? Like, have you moved to a different spot and find how to figure out yourself, or have you been around different people where you feel kind of like out of place, or just going somewhere new and trying to get that change? So, like for me, example, funny thing, I actually lived in Arkansas where the movie is based in. So I went down south, and I actually had a really good experience, moving down south, because I guess for some reason all the Caucasians people that were where I was at, they were excited to have an Asian friend. They're like, yo, I never had an Asian friend before, so this is so cool, like I want to be your friend. And they were so friendly. So I've had like a lot of good experiences down there. I've only had one bad experience where one kid called me a chink, but other than that, most
Man, did you fight him?
no, I
Just
didn't.
kidding.
Honestly, I'm the only Asian kid there, so I'm like, just mad by myself. But yeah, I mean, shoot, there's a lot of great, lovely people down south. They show a lot of love. It's kind of like what Ku's saying too. Like, I expect, you kind of thought, oh, there's gonna be a lot of racist people, or they're gonna be white racist people. But man, there was so many friendly people down south there for me. So
Okay.
it was a cool experience.
Yeah, I think for me, since I lived in Minnesota my whole life in Minneapolis, so Minneapolis is really diverse to me. When I grew up, I thought white people were the minority when I grew up
Mhm.
because I just saw Asian, blacks, Hispanics, and white people. It was so hard for me to find white people. When I see white people, I'm thinking, oh, shoot, they're the minorities. I was a little kid, and I remember in my high school, the most white people I've seen. I remember I took guitar class, and I think we had a test to do, but I was sick that day. So the next day, I had to come after school to our music room to do a guitar test for my music teacher. So after school came by, I went to the room, the most white people I've seen, and there was probably like 15 to 20 white people. I was like, what? There's so many white people. I didn't even know we had this much white people in our school. And it was just kind of funny too because at the time I was dating someone that went to your high school,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember I went to the little after school thingy. I went there, I saw so many white people. I was like, bro, I feel out of place. Like this
Yeah.
isn't me, you know, because where I went to school in Minneapolis, it's majority blacks, Asians. The white people are pretty much not a minority to me. So I guess when I kind of grew up older, I started realizing, damn, there are way more white people than just all of the colored people combined. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that I kind of put me in a reality check. So, but then I've had some racist encounters before with black people, white people, but I just kind of like, all right, it's just ignorance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess I kind of already explained like what I can relate to the film, just the small little everyday things. But I guess one thing this movie does when it shows like situations like that, they're like in an environment like the church. It kind of shows a little bit of a culture shock, maybe. Like not being there, like the Asian family there, and so there's like that awkwardness in how to interact with each other. The mom, she's not really knowing how to speak English, so she really can't really get close to these people, even though she's the one who wanted to get to know people, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But I guess my what I relate to this film again, just those small subtle things like I can relate to when I grew up, and then it kind of just shows a good example of a little of maybe culture shock or something along those lines. I don't really know how to explain it, but
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there was a scene. Where's so there was a scene on there where you know how he was supposed to sell his produce to a Korean store in California.
no,
And
wasn't it
then
in Dallas?
no, it was California.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
And
California.
then
Okay.
they backed out on him last minute ish. So he got super mad and he told the person who worked with him to never trust the Koreans because
yeah.
they all. And I kind of thought like, okay, it's a question I asked myself like, do I have this type of thinking towards other Hmong people? Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't I don't trust them when it comes to like buying their stuff or buying what they're selling. And I when I thought about it, yeah, I do, you know,
Mhm.
because I know sometimes when I go, I hear stories about Hmong people, you know, specifically targeting elder Hmong people because they know they could scam them.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So me knowing that and just hearing so many stories of that, when it comes to let's say life insurance, I know I've heard a lot of stories of that. So when it comes to buying life insurance, I kind of had the thinking in the back of my head, no, I don't want to buy it from a Hmong person because you hear that story so much, and just that thing kind of brought me back to like, all right, you know, like never buy from these people when people tell you that because Hmong people be doing this, Hmong people sell fake jewelry, you know. So when I think about that, I do feel like I kind of fit that because when they just say I want to go buy jewelry, I'm not gonna think about going to a Hmong jewelry, you know. I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking about going to K's or one of those other more known jewelry stores.
Mm-hmm.
But do you guys have anything similar or that you guys could relate to when it comes to that?
I think the biggest thing is like the support. You know, like you expect your own people to support you, but most of the time they're asking for discounts and stuff. It's just
Yeah.
like if you really want to support me, man, you would not ask for a discount. You know, my parents used to own a shop, and obviously you're a Hmong shop, so you have Hmong customers, and they come in, they're like, "Yo, let me get this for free, or let me get this
Yeah.
discount." And obviously, you know, you want to do that for them because you know you Hmong lu Hmong and Hmong help each other out. You know, so there's times when you do that, but then you kind of think about it, you're like, you know, if you really wanted to support me, you would pay the full price, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
help me out, you know, help me grow up, man. I'm giving you a service, you know, so that's kind of the only thing. I don't really have a trust issue with like Hmong people, but it's more like the support thing. Yeah.
Uh, I think I remember he said exactly the character don't trust Korean people from big cities.
Big
I
Mm.
think
city.
I think that's what his
Oh.
exact words were. But there it does the movie does show like things like that because they're not the only Korean family there. their coworkers are all Korean,
Mhm.
but for some reason they don't care to make a community, right? So I think the movie shows like kind of that theme of although you're the same people, you're not. It's not gonna be perfect. You're not gonna be this, the same or at all, And I think about it's like a topic that I've heard every now and then. For example, if there was a Hmong doctor, a lot of times people would rather go to a white doctor versus that Hmong doctor, like Hmong people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just that argument, like man, Hmong people say support one each other, but if you go to a Hmong person for something versus another person of another race, a lot of people will go to the other person because they trust that person more. So I think that's what I think about that argument. Have you guys ever heard that argument before?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I do feel a little bit different on that, but
Yeah.
I have heard of that
Yeah,
argument.
yeah. I don't like agree with that
Mhm.
argument, but I'm just saying that's something that I think of
Mhm.
that topic where, and you guys, I agree with what the both of you said too, especially with it's your own people who ask for a discount. They don't really fully support you too and
Mhm.
all that. Yeah.
Yeah, like what you're saying. I feel like they want to go to a place that's more established. Like what I was saying with selling gold.
Mhm.
If I want to buy gold, me just speaking with from a generation of Hmong people who grew up in America, because I
Mhm.
know a lot of the OGs they still go to Hmong people,
Right.
and that's how like a lot of them get scammed too, because people know they're older, they trust them because you're Hmong. I hear so many Hmong OGs like, oh, we're old, we don't understand English, so we rely on you younger Hmong people to to teach us and just guide us. So I feel like a lot of younger Hmong people they take advantage of that and they lie to the OGs so for the OGs to get the money, and then they disappear with the money. But in the sense, the OGs are willing to become vulnerable because they trust us being Hmong. But a lot of Hmong people take advantage of that. But me feeling like I'm a part of the problem sometimes, because when it comes to gold, I don't want to go to like a gold, someone selling gold at Hmong village.
Yeah,
Or let's
yeah.
say like, no, I'd rather go to like a well established spot, which is like
Yeah.
the obviously Mika people. Like, so I feel like I'm a part of that problem. But
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
kind of like that. But how would I really? But I don't really buy gold anyways. But let's just say that as an example.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
I don't think I'd go there to buy gold.
Yeah, I think most importantly, it's like finding places that are reputable, and then so if it's a Hmong establishment and it's reputable, then of course you go there, right? But then if it's a Hmong establishment that's not really reputable, then you don't go there. But it also just really depends on what are you trying to get your service. Like for me, if I'm going to an auto shop, right, I for sure want to go to a Hmong auto shop. But when it comes to clothing, I'm probably going to an American clothing
Yeah,
store,
yeah,
So
yeah,
it
that's
just really,
true.
I think it just really depends
Yeah.
too on like what you're trying to get, or what service you're trying to get. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And then I do kind of want to talk about the ending of the movie. Again, this movie about them chasing the American dream. The ending, I'll just explain what happened to the viewers. Again, spoilers if you don't know by now. So the husband is slowly starting to get more successful. He literally just that day got his first deal with the local Korean store,
Mhm.
right? To sell produce to them, to be their main produce guy. And on the way back, the grandma who had a stroke, and it's a situation where we all can relate to. Like the grandma's kind of like similar to your mom or like your grandma, where like even though she has a stroke, she's still trying to help out, right?
Mhm.
So the grandma's trying to help out while they're away and trying to make partnerships with the local Korean shops. And accidentally, because she had a stroke, she has really limited mobility. She accidentally started a fire, which then burned out his shed of office produce.
Mhm.
So then after that big event, it kind of ends subtly. I think this is why a lot of people don't really like it too, or like people I've talked to, is there's no big banger in there. There's no yes, he achieved the American dream. It's
Mhm.
all right. The American dream. It's more about the journey of the American dream. If you want to achieve the American dream, you keep going. So at the end, it shows that he doesn't give up. He starts again, right? Uh, how did you guys feel about the ending? Did you guys like that ending? Did you guys Did you guys want that big
I think
bang? Like he achieved it?
I think because I was kind of expecting it to, because when the shed burned down, now I'm thinking, okay, now I'm looking forward to what he's gonna do now.
Mm-hmm.
So then when they ended, I was in my head I'm thinking, I'm kind of looking forward to like, all right, now where's the
Yeah.
build of him like, because usually it's always, normally when it comes to movies, there's always like conflict, resolution with the conflict. Then there's another conflict, there's a resolution, and there's another conflict, and there's a resolution. So there's normally three of them on each movie. And for this one, I was like, okay, how's he gonna resolve this issue? You know, because this is he's coming in between something that's stopping him from his end goal. And then when it ended there, I liked it because I like movies that are open ending. I don't like. I mean, I like movies that tells it very well too, but I like more about open ending movies because it kind of shows you that it just doesn't end there. So the fact that it ended there, I did want it a little bit more, but I knew like okay, I knew what his goal was still. So his goal was still trying to live the American dream, where the grandma planted the Minari seeds. I just kind of saw that as uh, something that didn't, maybe like a part of the dream that didn't die yet. So the shed was something that was burned, which is the dream that died. But the Minari that was still alive was still part of the dream that the main character still had, and which was like okay, it's still there. You know, he could still continue on with his dream,
Mm-hmm.
which is I feel like okay, it was hopeful. Although I was thinking about like actually good ending that tells everything that resolves everything. It was kind of like that's as good that it ended there because you never know like it never really ends until it actually ends,
Yeah.
which is like when he dies, I guess. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's also another reason why I thought it was okay because I did kind of expected that big bang at the end, like boom, okay, what's he doing to fix this? What's he doing? You know, okay, what's the miracle that's gonna happen or something? You know, so I mean, Koo kind of just nailed it already. It's just I I was hoping for that big comeback and it wasn't there. So yeah.
I enjoyed it actually. I didn't expect that subtle ending either, but I really liked the message because it's like telling another perspective for the American dream, right? Like pursue happiness. He finally landed that job. Now he's doing good. Yes. But this one's more like after the shed burns, oh, what's gonna happen now? He starts again and it ends. And then you're kinda like, what? I wanna see him succeed, but then it's like, damn, but that's a deep message. The American dream is don't give up, man, no matter what, you know. No matter what bumps goes down the road, don't give up. But yeah, I both of you didn't like it as well, but I liked it a lot.
I said it was a great film.
Oh.
What you talking about?
No, the ending that is.
Oh
The
no, I
ending.
like the ending.
Oh,
No,
okay.
it was kind of like my just like what I expected from what I got. Is not that what I expected was going to be something better than what I got. What I got was something I really liked, but it just wasn't what I expected. You know, it's not like I like movies like where it doesn't really give you what you're expecting. Because if I'm expecting it, it's already not that good to me. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
So I like movies that kind of like throw me off or like gives me something that I still think about.
Okay. And then talking about American dreams, do you guys have a American dream or something like that?
It's so crazy because when you think about like society, the American dream is, you know, have a house, have a family, have a car. Like those are the main things you need. Like if you don't have a
Yeah.
car, you're not like living in a dream. If you don't have a house, you're not living a dream, American dream. And that's kind of, I guess, it's crazy being from America. We're all American born, so that's like instilled in us. And I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah.
maybe if I was born out of the country or somewhere else, then maybe this American dream that's supposed to be there would be much more different or
It's
just
like that expectation isn't high as high.
yeah, or like the fire to get that dream, yeah, it's just that it's been instilled in us to have those major things and that's kind of, I guess that is the American dream for me, hey, be able to have those things and have enough money to freely do something you enjoy, freely do anything you want, and then at the end of the day do something fulfilling for yourself, and
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the day, well, to me, the American dream is honestly do something you love doing and just be able to provide for yourself and your family. So, like, you don't have to be super rich. You don't have to have a huge house, super expensive car, as long as you know you're content with it. You know, I could buy. To me, I'm not really into cars, so I could live with a Corolla my whole life, or a Camry my whole life. I could just, just something cheap, something that get me through the day, because that's not where I set my, I guess my expectation or my happiness on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all right, cool. But then I turn around and buy like a $1,000 camera lens. Like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, fuck. But that makes me kind of happy. Like, all right,
Yep.
cool. So it really depends on the individual themselves, because a lot of people, I feel like in America, they judge you because you don't have to live to the standards where to put the people who's rich supposed to live by.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of like, if it makes you happy and if you love doing what you're doing, then by so means you're living the American dream.
Yeah, I think it's hard to talk like to say what exactly the American dream is, but I think the intent of the American dream or the goal is to be good, not worry about things like having to pay the bills, right? Just living happily and knowing that you're good. You and your family are good, right?
Mm.
For me, that's like the kind of the American dream, and I think the American dream is also not about having the like being a millionaire, billionaire. It's more about, hey, I started here and now I'm
Yeah,
up here, right? I think that's more like the American dream for me.
yeah. The American dream is pretty much about struggle.
Yeah.
That's pretty much, because if you was born here and you're rich already, like, okay, that's not really the American dream. The American dream is more about you being nothing at all,
Mm-hmm.
and then you becoming a multimillionaire, which does not happen outside of the U.S. Rarely ever happens.
Mm-hmm.
The United States is on pretty much the number one spot where you could be the poorest person, move here, and then work hard and then become super rich, which is kind of like the struggle. Which
Mm-hmm.
the struggle is the dream too when you think about it.
You know what's crazy? I never thought about this. So there's the American dream, right? Is there the Asian dream? Is there the Russian dream? Is there the
Well,
like?
shit.
Is
Oh,
there the African dream? Like, is there such things as that, or is there not such things like that? I've actually never thought. About
You know, I
that.
never thought about that either.
your dream.
Right? Like, oh, I don't want to be in U.S. I want to go to
Or all the
China,
Chinese
you know,
restaurant. I don't
like,
know.
is there actually? I don't know if there's something like that, right? Which is crazy. Like for us to be here in America, right, and be blessed with a place that so many people would like die to be here just to give themselves a chance, right? So it's crazy, yeah.
There's one thing that I've experienced that I've always stuck with me. Like when I was young, we had this guy from Laos or Thailand, our cousin. He came to visit us because I guess a company hired him to do a project in the U.S. in Minnesota. So he came to visit us for a day, and then my parents asked him, how do you like it in America? And he said, you know, in America, it feels really, really. The word he said is kind of, I forgot what he said exactly, but he said it feels really something along the lines of anxious or depressed, right? You're always having. I see people. It looks like they're always having to like worry about bills, so it looks like it's really anxious or depressed in America. So I guess that's like maybe his dream is to be more free and happy, right? Not be contained in bills and debt or something like that. I guess that's
Yeah.
one thing I think of when you think of what do other people not from America, what is their country's dream, you know? Yeah.
Is there anyone that you guys like talk to or know that kind of symbolize it? Okay, this guy is living his American dream, or this guy is going through his American dream, or went through that before.
Mm.
I'll just kind of go. So, I went to go shoot a video for this one guy who, he owns a taekwondo studio in the suburbs of Minnesota. It was Rogers, Minnesota, the city, and I went to go film him, and I was supposed to film him, interview him after everything I was supposed to interview him. So I interviewed him, and then we just kind of got caught in a conversation. He told me the story about him wanting to teach a taekwondo studio, but then he didn't really have money, So then he finally took the leap of faith to open a studio in Rogers, Minnesota, which he used to live in the cities, but when he went out to the suburbs to open it there, he knew nobody. So and then he didn't know if next month his studio was gonna be closed or not, because he didn't have students coming in because obviously no one knows who he is and he doesn't know the community there. So he had to like go outside and like have a sign, meet those guys a whole sign and stuff, and he had to pretty much just go out to schools and meet people, and at times he like had to struggle a lot, and eventually he had like a competition, this other studio that was competing against him, and it was kind of just him by himself. So he pretty much just had to work his butt off, go out there, get to know the community, and then eventually people just started to like him. They know like, oh, and the way he teaches, a lot of kids like the teachers really like it too, because uh he pretty much like people actually know him. He's not just a taekwondo teacher. He pretty much is kind of like a friend or like someone in the community now to him. So then when I kind of shot the video for him, just to kind of help him out, he was like, "Yeah, dude, like if you want to do this, you got what if you want to do what you really want to do, it will test you to see what you really want to do." Because when he did it, he didn't know if he should stop or not. But then he said, this is when it really tests you to see if you really love what you do or not. If you really love it, you will fucking struggle through it and do it. But if you don't really love like that, that's when you know you're gonna stop, and all right, I don't really love it like this, So he kind of stuck through it, and then he starts telling me, yeah, like it's actually going pretty well now. But I had a lot of months where I was struggling. I didn't know if I was gonna pay my rent for my studio or not. So it's kind of like when he told me that story, I saw him like, all right, this dude kind of going through that American dream. Yeah, which is kind of like it's dope. It's dope. All right.
I I think of when I think of someone who has achieved the American dream is like our cousin Brian. So his family experienced like a home hostage robbery uh experience, and at that time, I don't really know him as a person, uh like that. But at that time, he seemed like the guy who's just a regular Hmong guy, likes to drink, have fun all the time. But after that, like, experience, he like made a 180, right? So now he's like one of the top guys in IT for like the police in another state now. I don't really want to give all his personal information away or specific details. But then, like, I just think of stuff like that where someone, either because of something that happened to them or something they've always wanted, they made that 180 and then just worked towards it, and now they're like doing pretty good. Yeah, that's what I think about.
Yeah, I think honestly, all of us could say our parents have achieved the American dream. Coming from Laos and Thailand, from the Vietnam War as refugees, like they came here legit with nothing, and for them to be able to start a family here, buy a house, buy cars for us as kids, and
Bro, to
give
do
us
that and not even know English.
right. They given us the opportunity. Like obviously everybody's American dream is different, but for them, like that was like kind of the American dream for them. Like we came from a war torn country. We want to give everything we can to provide for our children. They've had houses, cars, and it's just like, dang, our parents. You could just say our parents achieved the American dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, like, I remember speaking to my mom when I shot my little small documentary just for her on her, and I remember talking to her. I said, like, was there anything you wanted to be when you grew up? She's like, no. I'm like, what? You don't want to be anything? You didn't strive to be anything at all? She's like, no, because I was the daughter. I couldn't go to school. We had to farm to survive and stuff. Like that was it. We didn't know anything else. So I was like, when you came to America, did you know like, oh, I want to do this? She's like, no. I was just know I had to work. And I was like, damn. And I kind of thought about like, damn, I should be appreciated for me being born here to actually know like, oh, I could do something, and for my mom to like not be able to go to school because she's the daughter, and then to come here and not have like a formal education, but to be able to work, just to work to provide for us. Like damn, like and in order to just for me to be able to like actually have a dream, like shit, that's all right. That's to me, that's kind of like damn, huh? That's like kind of her dream, but her dream is just for us to be successful, which is like, well, damn, okay.
It's kind of crazy because there's a story that my girlfriend has with like some of her family members, and it's the way I look at our parents is like they've always seen the mountain, but they've never been on top of the mountain, you know. So they don't. That's why they don't have those dreams, you know. Because but once you actually stand on top of the mountain and you see like, damn, this is all I can accomplish, then it opens your eyes to see, dang, I can get to these places, I can do this, I can do that, and yeah, like you know how you're saying, like, your mom, probably all our parents, are just like, no, we didn't really think of much because they've always just looked at the mountain, they've never got to the mountain. So yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I think like, whenever I'm like doubting myself, am I gonna be okay in the end? And later in life, I just think about my parents. And their generation, starting from a third world country, just farming, escaping and surviving a war to come in America and doing okay. That's like, stop being a little bitch, man. If they could do it, you could do it. So that's like my no my main focal point when like whenever I'm doubting myself, damn, am I ever gonna be like okay? And I think about my parents and like their generation, like, man, if they could do that, that means I'm just being a little bitch right now. I could do it too.
For real, dude. Like, all right, so this kind of relates to the movie too, which I kind of want to bring back to the movie. If you guys have anything else that you guys seen in the movie that you guys could relate to, for me, when their job when they had to pick up the hens or the chickens,
Yeah.
and then they had to look at their see what sex they are,
Yeah.
and they just had to do that over and over again, which is kind of like an assembly. I thought to myself, I did one day as assembly. I told myself, I'm never doing this shit again. To be like, I give a lot of credit to people who can do it. And like my mom did assembly her whole life, so I was like, damn, I give credit to you. I did one day assembly. I said, nope, I can't do this no more. Like, I would rather die than do this shit. To me, the reason I couldn't do it because I don't know. When I did it, it was like you just did the same thing over and over. So your mind, you have a lot of time to just think about life. So I just kind of thought about life, and they didn't let us listen to earphones, our phones. They won't let us listen to it. We had to stand up too. So I just stood up all day doing the same thing over and over and over. So I had so much time to think. I started thinking about negative stuff, started having anxiety, and then next thing, there was a Hmong lady there too who kind of helped me around, and so and her son was there too, and her son was about my age, and I kind of just thought like, damn, I don't want to do this. And I was like, damn, I hope you like after this, I hope you do something better too with your life. Kind of like to my head, I was saying that to the son, and then they at the end of the shift, everyone gathered around on the sheet where you could sign up if you want to work tomorrow or not. And then everyone's like, yo, yeah, let me put me in this shift, put me in that shift, and then everybody just wanted to work all the shift. And I was thinking to myself, I ain't coming back here, man. Fuck this shit. But I said, yo, I'll put me on for tomorrow's shit. But I went home, I was like, nope. I was like, you know what? This is when I gotta really chase after really what I really want to do. If I don't want to do this, I should actually chase something I want to do, even though I'm struggling. I know I'm not going back to this shit. But that was part of the movie when I related to that. And I related to him like not wanting to do that. Him wanted to like focus on his farm, which is his dream job. So for me, I'm like, shit, yeah, I relate to that.
Yeah, I can add on to that too. I understood the dad when you know before I say that, I want to add on. There's a theme of in the movie of that I notice is male versus female, right? You're always seeing, like the job, they have to separate the male and female. There's a scene where the dad tells his son, the males, they're not shit. They can't do nothing. The females, they're the most important gender because why do you think when you separate chickens, they keep the female chickens, and they don't really care about the male chickens, right? And then there's like that theme of male and female, and then the mom is arguing to just work a safe job so we'll be good at least. But he's like, no, I want to chase my dream, you know. So there's like those themes of male versus female, and like ideals of staying safe, working a job that's not fulfilling, but at least you're safe, versus risking a lot but chasing what you want to do. Uh, so I really relate to that. I think all of us can relate to that because at the back of our head, we're always thinking about what is something I want to do that I'm passionate about and like that I want to like do more of. Uh, but for me, I can relate to that, and this is another scene that I can relate to. Not like how Cool can relate to, but more like the message is. I don't know how you guys felt, but when the grandma, right, when she fucked up and burned up the shed, for me, there's like two feelings in there. Oh damn, man, I feel bad because she was meaning well, but then at the second thought, is like, oh man, what is the husband gonna do to her? And, like she fucked up, and then what happened was the grandma, she was trying to run away, and then the kids brought her back. It just kind of showed like, yo, no matter what, whoever fucks up, you guys still family. You guys gotta be there for each other. You gotta forgive each other. Like no matter how much someone fucks up, you gotta be there. So that's like a message that I'm like, damn, I really liked a lot too. Like, even though like when she fucked up, there's two feelings. Like, oh man, she's the grandma, or like, and then there's like, but she fucked up the dad's fucking dream, and it's more like the message for that I relate to. Like, well, at the end of your family, you gotta be there for each other. You gotta forgive each other. Yeah.
And like I say, because she was the one who planted the Minari seeds.
Yeah.
So even though she kind of fucked everything up, she did still kind of implant that small dream left
Yeah.
where he could continue that, because he picked off from the Minari, which is kind of like he still continued that. And she was kind of the reason why, cause she planted it there to kind of give him hope in a sense.
Talking. Wait, did you wanna?
Yeah, just thank goodness I haven't. I mean, honestly, like, thank goodness I haven't been like in those type of like experiences, like doing like warehouse or assembly line. Like, thank goodness I haven't done that. And like manual labor, I work in the IT field, so I just sit on a desk all day. So I do. Shout outs to those people who do assembly line and like manual labor, because that's tough, man. And sometimes you have to do that to get to your dream. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Some people are okay doing that. So it is.
I mean, I do hear people say like, do something that makes you uncomfortable. If it's a job you hate, do it because it'll remind you to do something you want to do. Because I do know sometimes I kind of slack off a bit too, and then I kind of remind myself, all right, let me go do something I don't want to do. So I can remind myself, yeah, I don't want to be doing this, so I can at least be appreciative. All right, let me go do this.
All right, and then finishing it off with this last question. The movie is Minari. Minari is a Korean plant. Uh, what do you guys think is the meaning or symbol of Minari? I know Kui kind of touched on it, but if you want to explain it more, you could. Dala, what's your thoughts on the meaning of Minari? Why is it titled Minari?
Yeah, I mean, I never knew what Minari was until the movie.
I thought that was a person's name.
I didn't know what Minari
Like,
was too.
and I was like, oh, it's a plant, or it's a Korean plant, right?
Yeah, I
or
think
is
they
it
use it for kimchi and some Korean food.
Okay, yeah, and then like Ku pretty much touched on it. It's just like it's a metaphor for like the struggle that they're going through in the movie. They're in a place that's kind of unknown to them, so like she plants it in a place that's kind of out of nowhere and are surrounded by. It's not like
Weeds and
it's not
stuff.
like the farm. It's like a river creek, and then it's in the middle of nowhere. But then it's that struggle is where you can survive and become something. So that's kind of the metaphor of it for me when I look at the Minari. Yeah.
Yeah, my initial uh understanding of it when I finished watching, I thought it meant. I think for me, I thought Minari kind of symbolized like the Korean people, since it's a movie based on the Korean perspective. But it can just be a metaphor for people in general, where Minari, the grandma, she brought the Minari seeds from Korea, and she planted it in America, and it was able to grow and flourish. I took it as a meaning of no matter what, if you're in something unfamiliar, you'll adapt, you'll flourish, and I felt that was the meaning of the Minari. It's a Korean plant. Now it's in America, and it's growing. It's flourishing. It's kind of like similar to the family. They moved to Arkansas. They're unfamiliar with their surrounding and the people, but they're adapting and they're flourishing in what they do there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much what you guys said. Like, obviously, the grandma planted it somewhere where you wouldn't really plant anything there. It's just full of weeds and stuff, and just her planting the dream, pretty much the small, it's like a seed of dream. All right, even though his plants got all burned down, there's still that small plant that she planted for him to have hope, or for just them to have hope. And it's feel like when she planted it there, feel like it kind of just grew itself. So it's like them moving to America or moving to Arkansas and just planting their seed, as in like them staying and living there, which is kind of like, yeah. I'm pretty sure I explained it earlier too, but I know we were going on a little bit longer, but I do want to say that they did. I think it was for Best Picture. I forgot what awards it was, but they, if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But they weren't nominated for Best Picture or Best American Film or something, because I guess to be nominated for that, your movie's supposed to have 50% English in there, right? So Minari was mostly spoken in Korean, so they weren't like able to be submitted into that. But the funny part was, I believe Inglourious Bastards was submitted for that, but Inglourious Bastards was mainly, it wasn't even mainly spoken in English, which I thought, wait, that's messed up. Like, how you gonna do this?
Interesting. Yeah, I
And
never knew that.
yeah,
There was that controversy where it's this whatever I don't even know too much what it's called, but it was nominated for best foreign film. So there was like a lot of controversy about
yeah,
that.
best foreign film too. That was
Yeah,
controversial.
and it's kind of like it kind of shows that the kind of misunderstanding or like or unappreciation of an American story that's not from a white person, right? Or not from an English speaking person. And it kind of just yeah, it just kind of dumb where it's an American dream. It literally is an American narrative.
It's an American movie, but then it's in the foreign film category, which I don't understand. I understand if Parasite is, so Parasite also it's in Korea, so it's a foreign film. But this movie is by an American director, American actors, in America. And the movie is about an American dream, and it's not even. It's in the foreign film category. What the hell? That's stupid. Yeah. So I just thought, oh man, all these stuff is crazy. They can't be submitted for, I don't think, that one category because it's not mainly spoken in English. But Inglorious Bastard was able to be nominated, but it wasn't mainly English, which I don't understand. And then they're in the foreign, the best foreign film, but it's an American movie. Wait, what the? All these shit.
Funny, yeah, that's
I
crazy.
think they had a lot of pushback on that, so I think they kind of reversed that from what I heard. But I don't
But
know if
then
that's true.
I guess that's why like I like it a lot too, because it's actually a movie which I thought, what's an American movie that has all Asian cast that I actually feel like I really liked. And to me, like when it comes to Mulan and Crazy Rich Asians, like they all took place somewhere else. It wasn't mainly in the U.S., which is like, okay, this one is actually mainly on here and actually deals with some real life shit other than the other movies, which is something that we can't relate to. Maybe only rich people can.
All right, just one last fun fact: Inglorious Bastard has Brad Pitt in there, right? Brad Pitt is also the executive producer of Minari. It's crazy. I did not know that till the end credits. All right. Any last words about the movie or any discussions?
Lastly, just I think Kun Kong really opened my eyes on appreciating the movie.
That's racist, bro. Just messing
It
with
really
you.
like opened my eyes on like appreciating the movie because I thought it was okay, but after hearing like their thoughts and their input, it really makes me realize that yeah, it was a really good film for what it was trying to portray. So I just yeah.
Okay, yeah, and yeah, to me it's a great film, and I advise everyone to go watch it if you can. I feel like it's going to set the standards for just an American film in general. But yeah, that's it for me.
All right, you guys. If you guys didn't have the chance yet, go watch Minari. Again, it's not a high flashing movie. It's more like a subtle, genuine movie trying to tell a genuine story. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. Give us a like, comment down below what your thoughts are too. Thank you guys.